Starting on YouTube, starting on Twitch. Alright. How are you doing? Alright. Yeah, greetings ladies and lads. Welcome to another redesigning digital art stream here with me. Today we're basically doing part 2 of the project that we started 2 weeks ago, I think. Oh, he's telling me he's got really bad connection. What? 50% dropped frames? Fuck. Hey Matt, how you doing? Are you experiencing currently a bad connection? Because OBS is? Can't I just have like one normal intro without anything going awry? What's happening? This is mighty weird. Is this OBS stuff or what's happening? He's telling me I'm losing like every other frame. Are you guys alright over there? How are you guys doing? What does YouTube itself say? Hang on, YouTube itself says quite a good connection. Alright guys, sorry for the hold up. I don't know what's happening here. Hey, Nate Harry! Greetings from Emden. Hey man! How are you doing? Glad to have you check in here. Alright guys, apparently something weird is going on with the connection. I'll have one last look via my own phone to check up on the situation, and then I think we'll be good to go. As far as what we're trying to do today is we're just trying to redesign the Stormcast Eternals just as last time, giving them a much more medieval influence, while also making sure that, you know, the heroes of Sigmar are properly, you know, showcased and designed. Okay, I don't know what's up with OBS. It looks fine on YouTube. YouTube itself tells me everything's alright. Ned Harry says from my wife too. Thank you very much, guys. Alright, a little bit of a different angle. I'll have you guys down here because the reason for that is, you know, I look a little bit like a maniac when I'm reading chat like this. But most of the time I'll probably stare at my tablet like this. So that's why I put you guys there for change. And that's also why when I flip to the face cam, I'm wrong way around. Alright. Yeah. Great start, great start. So, last we left off, we had 3 designs ready. This guy we see here with a bunch of stuff, so a more modern helmet, a bigger focus on chainmail, lots of colorful splinted armor, an ornate pauldron, all of that good stuff. And the design we had before that was more along these lines. So before we had a you know, lot more metally design with an axe that's way too big, because of course it has to be somewhat, you know, big, but looks kind of a little bit ridiculous. This design to me looks like a miniature, or a design for a miniature that would have come out like, you know, 95 or something, or earlier than that. So I'm really not happy with that, although we did have some cool highlights, like, of course, all of his jousting gear. So the foldable arm plate, the insane beard, like this entire thing. Very crazy, very cool to see. And the very first design was, of course, this juggernaut. Also, of course, you know, sporting lots of jousting gear, and really thick, immovable plate, basically. All of that was rather bad. I think the first design that actually looks rather cool was this guy, although I kinda had the problem that it didn't really look like much, you know? It just looked like an unusual knight, but not quite, you know, a hero or angelic character that you would expect, you know, an agent, a lord of Sigmar to look like, right? I'm calling them Lords of Sigma here, because, you know, they are basically Space Marines for fantasy, so I think the title is just rather fitting. Alright, yeah, the main challenge remains that we want to redesign what we see basically here, because we already have lots of medieval aspects present, like his footgear. Hang on, can I have like a different brush? Like his feet, and of course his armor. But there are also like huge Greek and Roman inspirations, of course, with the chestplate, which is like the most important thing here, and of course the Baltea on the front. And that's basically what we want to change. The crux being, again, that we can't just end up with a regular knight. It is supposed to be a proper character. And as much as I like this guy, I think we need to switch to something else. And I basically want to do a collection of ideas now before we start. Basically what you see here, you know, what the artist did here with like different, oh my gosh, with different helmets, you know, different shields over here, armor sketches, and then we'll basically dress up our character, because I think that might help us, you know, speed things a little bit more along, work a little bit more focused. So, first thing, of course, is the helmet. And the helmet, so as I see it, these guys have basically two focal points: the chest plate and the helmet. So these two things will make the biggest difference in our redesign. You could also argue the pauldrons, but the pauldrons are, you know, basically just like Space Marine pauldrons. I'm not quite sure what we're really gonna do with them. I could even imagine them just, you know, carrying them over. But it really is the helmet and the chestplate that we need to redesign. And I think I want to start with the helmet, because that's already like a great source of character that we can give these new soldiers. These new knights, of course. Hang on, I need to arrange my stuff a little bit. It's a little bit scuffed. I hope you can excuse that. So, the medieval ages had a couple of different helmets for us to work with, but what I'm really trying to do as a first step, of course, we had, you know, in our earlier designs, we had the Stechhelm that you can see here, or the regular, you know, closed visor. Great stuff, but I'm not quite sure if it really works for what we're trying to do here, especially considering, you know, it still should be somewhat recognizable of a I want to say Space Marine, of a Stormcast Eternal. So I'm thinking maybe we should take a design that also has a face ingrained in it. So, all that talking done, time to get to work. So I want to try, so if this is the head, you know, roughly like this. My gosh. I even warmed up in my sketches beforehand. And then I think the one of the designs that I see here is basically very close to the design that we had beforehand. So we have like a plate that goes like this, including the beard here. And then we have somewhat of a visor again. So if this is the helm come, I will just accept the fact that I need to spout some German words here and there in describing the armor. What the fuck is going on? Hang on. I don't know. Maybe I'm flustered or something. But yeah, last time trying to remember all the English translations for the armor pieces that we were trying to design just didn't went so well. What is going on? I just painted a face before this, like a proper sculpted face. Can I please get it together? One thing that I've realized with these digital art streams is that they are a little bit harder to pull off in a position like as opposed to my just miniature painting streams, because these streams I actually have to focus on what I'm doing a lot more than just painting miniatures, especially a design stream, you feel me? So yeah, it just becomes a lot harder for me to talk and basically do anything. So let's pull the visor all the way down, maybe a little bit more roundish. I'm looking over to a book that I own, depicting basically every style of armor that has existed in more or less like Central Europe for the past, like for the medieval period as a whole. So going over all early to late medieval period to the age of the conquistador and so on. And, you know, because we are trying to stay a little bit more historically grounded, and it is a great source of inspiration to see what kind of designs are actually possible here. What is happening with me? It isn't... Okay. Well, you know, when in doubt, just keep going. So, we have, and then we have, of course, the closed. So here is the angle for the visor, the chenier, and the helmet, like the lower part itself, is made out of two parts again as well. So we have the kragen and the beard, of course, going a little bit more like this. So, by the way, Nate Harry, I haven't seen you in a whole while. How are you doing? How's everything going at home? Hope quite well, of course. And then, of course, we need to do something like this to differentiate the gap, or rather the fold. There we go. Oh, whoops, sorry. Well, I hope you guys had a great week so far, of course. Hope everything is going rather well. And the week has been enjoyable. We are very fast closing in on the first of Advent. On the first Advent, which is very exciting. I'll meet my family in 2 days in a big town near me for the Christmas market. So I'm really excited to see all of them again, which makes me sound like I've been deployed or somewhat. No, that's of course not the case. But, you know, been a couple of weeks since I've last seen them. And I rather do enjoy hanging out with my family. So the features are a little bit exaggerated, because they had to have been carved in the metal, of course. And then we have basically the visor eye slits going like this. And then we basically have, you know, we are basically working with a face. So, like this, and the mouth goes like this. A very sad knight, a very sad looking helmet. So I think if, you know, this is where we are basically starting, I think our first step should be to make it look a lot more menacing. So, making the features like maybe not smiling, of course, but even like a little bit meaner, a meaner lip, a strong nose, and the eye lenses, the eye slits, maybe. So we need to maybe pull all of this up. a little bit. This is so rough. What am I doing? And then make it come down a lot more. Not too hard, but maybe more like this. And then how does the artist, the smith, do it? Basically, this entire thing is one steel plate. And then a ridge forming right here on the visor. This would be one way to achieve a face in a more accurate medieval helmet. Then we have the shadow here of the metal plate separating. Maybe I need to pull that a little bit more over there. Oh, not too far. Hey. And then... yeah. Then we have to just work out how to make it look properly. My gosh. It looks a little bit like a jester's mask or like a theater mask, which is not at all what we're trying to do here, really. Well, then of course a decorative rim going like this. That was basically the first idea of a helmet, which looks rather bad. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, the stream is still young. We've still got some time. I think we shouldn't go with the fully visored helmet as we see here. Simply because I think that, you know, this look is too, like, Dark Souls-ish. Like, they've already taken the concept of a regular knight basically to, like, as far as it can go. You know, by not doing much, just, you know, refining the look of a knight to look as cool as possible. And now it's a little bit difficult again. If we would have taken this design for a Stormcast Eternal and called it a day, that would of course not have been enough, because it looks too much like a regular knight. Though that being said, this design is of course not optimal in any way, shape or form. Iluna saying hello there. Hi. Welcome to the stream. I'm currently struggling to sketch anything. Glad to have you here. There's of course also the way to go with like a shala or a salad, as it's called in English. Maybe that would have been more of an idea, so we can try that. Hang on, let me get a good reference pic of a good salad. Not salad, but salad. Which would be like around this, alright? An arch. Then coming up here. Then basically a bowl. Going down. A little bit more in this direction. Then we have like the eye slits roughly like around here. Ridge coming down from the top. And then redefine it with a little bit more, you know, of a proper rendering. Not going too crazy too far, too soon. But you know, just so we get a good idea. Will the end of the no cape heresy be today? Yes, because I think that you are. I'm not quite sure if we should do. You really want a cape, right? So no tabard, no coat of arms necessarily. You really want a proper cape, right? Hang on. Let me do it like that. So that would be some sort of salad, which usually is worn with like a metal beard underneath. So similar to the helm we see up top, this is basically what we'd end up with. Now let me quickly sketch the rest of that in. So a little bit like this, right? That's an idea. I don't think it's quite enough. I think for a, something to be recognized still as a Stormcast, we still need a face. Though, maybe try adding some more lightning bolts on the armor on the bottom of the helmet. You mean here? So, like this, basically? Okay, that's roughing on. I think, so what we're basically trying to do right now is, I don't want to go into accessorizing too quickly. I just prefaced the entire stream with saying that, the designs that we did in the previous stream are alright in their own right, but it still just looks like a regular knight design, because we are working so close with historical references, right? So, I think we need to get a little bit further away from that, and I just want to do a collection of ideas beforehand, just as you see here. For example, these different helmets or the different gauntlets. And once we have that, we'll basically just assemble them, right? I think the accessories make more of the style of Warhammer. No, I think you're pretty much right, but so far it's basically we're basically trying to find the right aesthetic in a position to refining the aesthetic that we would have agreed upon. So what I'm trying to see is if we can somehow combine these two looks into something unique. So we basically I want to start with the salad, or salé. I'm not sure how the English would pronounce it, and maybe I should just stick to shala. So we paint our basic, sketch in our basic shala, the bowl on top. And then go a little bit down here, like this. And this is basically where the face would be. And then we just do that in the sense of like a small visor. So not going all the way down like here, but also not being completely rigid as like here. So we set up like an angle point, a charnier over there. And then I just want to have it go like this. Maybe that's an idea that I want to try out. It's a little bit like a Venetian mask of sorts. I don't want to go too crazy. I just want to have it look fresh. And then if you want to get the facial features in, so we basically have the eye slits like this. And a little bit like here, there would be like a metallic ridge pulling these eye slits forth a little bit. And then in that we could do like a nose. Because I don't know, I think the facial features of the Stormcast helmets are quite important. We can't just ignore those. It's a little bit tough because we need to get away from the generic knight look and also want to get away from the generic Stormcast look, while at the same time having both ideas, be recognized as such. So we want the design still to feel, more closer to medieval inspiration instead of the Greek heroes that they are closer looking to as they are designed now. And then like a beard down here again. Quite sure. What's this? Hang on. Does it look? Oh yeah. Just like this. Hang on. And then just clean all of that up. Yeah. Not quite. So we definitely were able to combine these two. But to what effect, though? In my opinion, your approach is flawed by not focusing first on the style flair. In flawed, I mean that you're not happy with the whole result after. Oh, what? In flawed, I mean that you are then not happy with the whole result after that. Yeah. Basically, that what I was thinking about these last couple of days, I think actually it was like more like 2 weeks, right? That have passed since this stream, is that I kinda like, I quite liked what we did last time with this last design, but I've realized that this is just a regular knight. So if this guy would appear in a Dark Souls game like this, I wouldn't question it. But that's not a Stormcast Eternal. A Stormcast Eternal is supposed to be, not like these helmets, but Stormcast Eternal is supposed to be, in my opinion, like, it's a little bit of an angelic character. Hang on, can I? Angelic? That's what I mean? Hang on. Your approach is flawed by not focusing first on the style flair. If I mean the... I actually don't really get what you're saying then. Sorry, it's it's been kind of a long week, a long day, so I'm not really as sharp as I try to usually be. But just to complete my explanation, it's like there are angelic characters. I'm calling it WoW heroes, so World of Warcraft heroes with oversized weapons and some of their armor being, of course, over-exaggerated. Of course, you know, the helmet, the hammer, the pauldrons, and their own size as well, of course. No problem, thank you. So angelic WoW heroes, and they also need to be brandable and like copyrightable. So we need to be able basically to copyright them, more or less, right? And we need to be able to create like an eye catcher for people to say, oh yeah, that's a Stormcast Eternal. And what Theinrich said last time, you know, they also have to be able to work as like minis, right? So how fun are they to paint? How customizable are they? And having all of these things in mind, I don't think that if we take our designs from last time, that we really achieved any of that necessarily. Hey, sorry I'm late, I didn't get any notifications, says Rise. Oh, you're completely fine, man. The start of the stream has been a little bit rough, not gonna lie. Eluna says, I was responding to you saying that the knight you make feels just like a knight, not a Stormcast. Yes, that's exactly what I'm feeling. And you think there's a flaw in that? Because I guess you're saying that I should not focus on... Where should I focus on, you think? Should I, for example, try to take one of these earlier designs, more or less, you know, for example, and mold more like Stormcast stuff onto them? Or should I do what I started the stream with in, you know, starting with like these individual parts and then just dressing the Stormcast up with them afterwards? Bryce asks, what are we doing tonight? We are trying to redesign the Stormcast Eternals, because the Stormcast Eternal design for me always felt a little bit meh, you know? It's just a little bit of a weird amalgamation of different styles. You know, I talked about this before, but we have like Roman influence in the Baltea, Greek influence and Roman influence in the muscular armor. We've got Space Marine influence with the big pauldrons. And everything, you know, it's just not quite enough. And Ilunas, for example, asked if there was a chance to redesign them to look more medievally, you know, like a medieval knight, for example. And that's what I'm trying to do today. The individual part approach. We should do that. We should do the individual part approach and then just dress them up. Is that what I'm getting? I'm very embarrassed to admit that. This hasn't happened in months now. But I drank so much coffee before this that I will have to leave for the bathroom in a second. I might not be around particularly much. I'm still recovering from my back injury. So yeah, just a bit over the place. Oh shit, man. Speedy recovery for you. Yeah, man. That's tough to hear. Sorry about that. Lol, piss break. Yeah. So I'm currently thinking of what maybe if I should let something play from the last stream while I'm away. Should be only away for like 3 minutes or so, tops. Alright. I think, turning back to the design aspect, I think this is actually quite cool. I think this idea, because I think a salad or a salé is very medieval coded, very core medieval. It's not like so like weird as what we did here, but it still carries over like the facial aspect with like the face shield. Yeah, 22 with back issues, yeah. Oh man. Yeah. You know, our generation is just aging like milk, man. Salad is about 1460 to 1530s. Yeah, a little bit too late for my taste. A little bit for like I would like to incorporate more like early medieval like designs. That's why I on the last design focused so much on the mail, on like chainmail and stuff, like here, here, here. But it is a fully armored up character in blank steel, so yeah. So I think we need to get a little bit more into the later periods. Yeah, I think I'll keep that salad though. Hang on, let me quickly cut that out. Duplicate. Whoa. Wrong layer, damn it. Duplicate. Away with this. I think I'll keep this salad. This is not the final design for the helmet. I'll just want to keep that in mind. Next up, I think we should think about the breastplate, because in terms of breastplate, we basically have a little bit more options. So I thought about giving them like a brigantine of sorts. So basically a padded coat of arms that would look a little bit more like this. Maybe like this. My friend Hightower actually has one of these for our lab characters. So it's basically like a coat made from leather And then you have like steel plates on it. Either, nailed or hewn into the leather so you can't see it, or, atop of it. Start by doing a simple armor piece, then add some of the stylish things until you're happy with it, and then move on from the helmet to the neck guard. Once you're happy, and move down, so on and so on. Yeah. I think what I want to do first is just get the basics right, and then do what you said. So, just get the general idea of the individual parts, and then, move on from there. Because you can see that's basically, for example, what they did with here is, in my opinion, as well. So they got like the basic shape for their big gauntlets, and then they did all of their, flourishes on there. So gradual approach. I agreed very much with gradual approach. I think that's the way to go about it. I do have, by the way, now that we're on the stage of like character design, for my diploma, I've also started cooking up like more designs for my characters, and I think one of the characters I've already redesigned thrice, so this was the first idea. Then I was like, nah, I want to have him look a little bit more noble, and then later on in the story he needs to become more like this. So I've been really in the design phase of basically everything right now. Here's my idea for the initial like first cover art. So I've been wrapping my head quite a lot around designing and everything, so I really appreciate being able to, do these streams and get even deeper into it. Rice says, crap, wrong layer, average artist at 3 AM, 20 hours into a commission. Yep. Honestly, when I see a mistake and I can't find the layer, I'll just create another layer and paint over that mistake. Alright. So a brigantine would be one of our options. Love seeing the creativity and artistic work. Thank you. I just hope it will be enough. I think I'll get my diploma alright, but, it needs to also be enough for the real world. So we have the option between a brigantine, a little bit more of a bulbous cuirass. So I'll try to sketch that from memory. So like this, basically. Goes down here, and then has a significant bulge. Not bulge, but like, stuff. Like this, basically. And then, of course, be completely metal. That was one of my earlier ideas on one of the first designs that we did. I think this one in particular, this idea, I mean, there's a historical reasons for them to look like that, roughly, right? I am rather opposed to doing that for the Stormcast as well, though, simply because many Nurgle miniatures are already using this. Mostly, like, indirectly, because they just have, if this is, like, a normal torso, they, are not just wearing a cuirass, they actually are, like, bulbed so much because of, like, fat and, everything, everything that's going on with them. I think the last artwork I did was a gift for my GF, a Blood Angel and a Sister of Battle. I'm actually quite proud of it. Many months ago. Dang. Wanna send it to me? I'd love to have a look. If you want, of course. So, Brigandine, Cuirass, which I'm not that big of a fan of for Stormcast. Then, of course, we have something like the Kastenbrust, which is basically what we're seeing here. With this guy. Cool, unique, sure. That's a maybe, I think. That's a maybe. Yeah, sure, give me a moment. Oh, good. Good. And then we have a lot of the more gothic style cuirasses, and I think that might be the way. So we have basically two parts. It is basically, again, another cuirass, but we have like a like a belly plate that goes a bit like this. And then more slimmer toward the bottom, with a ridge, and then many more ridges. And then we can design the upper part basically however we want, because there are many different things that you can do with it. For example, we could do like a little bit more of a splinted armor look, which could be painted in all sorts of different colors. We could do just more of a just basically the reverse, so a little bit more of this action. For example, if there were shoulders on here, we could do like what are they called? Schwebeplatten. Like this. Of course, we have got lots of options in the shoulders, and I think if we're going to go more in that direction, that probably is the best approach we can take. That being said, we could also just ignore the chest plate. Hang on. We could basically ignore the chest plate because we're starting out with the average soldier, right? And just give him a tabard. So, and there we have the option between basically a long tabard, as we see quite a lot in depictions of knights. So basically what we see here, and up there, but here as well, in a sense. Or we could also do, and I think that's also kind of fun, a short tabard. So if we do like this. For me, the Kastenbrust is quite an interesting choice. You just need to stylize it more and see how that looks. Then, sorry for being so argumentative. You're not being argumentative at all. I think you're posting very valid A, criticism, and B, constructive criticism. So you're actually coming up with a design idea of your own. If you were just being in chat saying this looks ugly, that would be a different story. But you're raising very valid concerns, and I appreciate that. So, don't hold back at all, man. So I think actually for me, because this design is classic, but a little bit more Nurgle coded, this idea is basically that idea, but fancier. The Brigandine is a little bit too simple. This is what I would expect a, foot soldier, a mortal foot soldier to wear. Sent via Insta? Bingo, I'll have a look at that. So I think the tabard idea and the Kastenbrust idea. 3 ads are being shown before the stream? Yo, I didn't know that. Dang. No wonder my ad revenue has gone so up. No, just being... I'm just messing around. No, okay, that's crazy. Dang. The thing is, I wanted... just going on a short tangent, I was thinking of just completely leaving the stream unmonetized. And I did that a couple of times, and then I realized YouTube is showing you ads either way. So... And it's also the same amount of ads with the same length. The only thing that I now do is I say, okay, monetize, and then show no ads during the stream. Because that's what YouTube told me as well. Oh, do you want to do ads during the stream? And I'm like, no, what the fuck? Use Brave browser? Ooh, I'm using that as well. Now, it's not your fault, that's YouTube being YouTube. It's also holiday season, so, now it's the big spending time, right, for advertisers. Anyways, I'm thinking, Tabard and Kastenbrust are actually rather cool. Yeah. And we'll see where we go from there. Alright, and of course we could do, loads of ideas for, freehanding. And, of course, maybe, edge designs, molded designs, right? I mean, when we came to YouTube to get away from ads? Dang, yeah. So... Hang on. I'll actually leave that there. Just duplicate the tabard. Duplicate. I put that in like the same folder of these ideas. Yeah, ideas are neat. And I'll actually cut out the custom burst as well. Duplicate. So, maybe a rich Gothic style breastplate if you would make it more square-like and angular. So more like Art Deco style, you think? I do have some examples of like Gothic chest plate right near me, so yeah. I mean, that is the style of the time. Do we have like in the later periods, how's it looking there? Crazy armor designs, but the cuirass hasn't changed all that much. Like after the base form was basically, you know, done, it only changed more like terms of looks than actual usability, so let's think about that. I also saw like a cuirass do basically this. I think it was called the Galahad cuirass from Mytholon, which is like a LARP supplier, which basically had like a segmented plate like this. So you could have... It basically looked like early sketches. Is that even true? Is that even true? Hang on. Let me Google something real quick. Galahad chestplate. Yeah, it is by Mytholon. How does it look? Okay, it looks a lot more... It indeed looks a lot more simple than I thought. Okay. There we go. So it basically looks like this, right? So here's the full Galahad set. One of the things that I would like to own, or used to like to own for my own lab character. Looking quite nice. You know, you probably would look like a proper knight in there. I mean, quite literally, right? So maybe if we take like this, the idea of that, of being it like nicely shaped, you know, with like an enlarged breastplate, if you could say so, an enlarged torso plate, and then whoops, and then do it more, you know, do it cooler. So if we do it like this, and then we could do like some, we could still have it feature like some muscle. Hang on. I need more space to work with. Yeah, the Galahad suit could be a nice starting point. Right. Now let me actually delete this lower part. Let's start a little bit fresher. I think I got a little bit ahead of myself. So... this would basically be a little bit more like the chest plate. Roundabout, right? Then we'd have one middle segment and then another middle segment like this, and after that we'd have like the hip part. Now if we'd imagine stuff like, alright, we want to have, hang on, let me actually reform these a little bit. So let's say we give it some actual muscle. Bring a little bit back of the custom Brust aesthetic. So just a little bit, you know? So with that we could also like carve in some muscle features. Not going too crazy. And then we could have... Oops, hey. I think I need to... I closed the Galahad. Close the Galahad image. There we go. So the upper plate is rather deep. Okay, it actually does look like that. Just want to make sure. Alright. Hang on. If you're actually being serious about this design, then let me make sure that we're actually doing a rather good job. Okay, like this is the upper plate, this is the lower plate. Okay, and they're not as extreme, you know. Looks a little bit, you know, a little bit too female-y. Okay. Okay, I mean that's also quite a good starting point. Let's keep that in mind as well. Whoops, hey. Keep that in mind as well. I mean that's not too bad. Then of course we have like legs and arms. Oh. What emote is that? But hang on. Let me actually have a look at the picture you sent. Message. Send a photo. Oh! Aww! That's really nice. Hang on. Can I show that on stream? Where do we have it? Alright. There we go. Oh, hey. Where's it gone? There we go. We're in this together. Hell yeah. That's a nice drawing. Very cute, very expressive. We're in this fight together. Very nice. Hell yeah, very well done. Also well executed on just a technical standpoint. Very nice job, man. Alright, back to our own artwork. I think we don't need to think about too much about like the legs or the arms, because those are already rather medieval. Those I think I would put into the same category as the rest, you know, saying spend a good month working on it. Oh, I can imagine. It looks, you know, it definitely looks like that. Another thing though that is very interesting to you know, that needs addressing definitely are the pauldrons. So we do have, let me quickly save this guy as an example. Duplicate. So when we say we want to work with like pauldrons, right? By the way, sorry for it being so a little bit off center. Maybe I shouldn't. Should it a little bit different? Maybe we should. So there are basically different ways to go about it. Theinrich actually said he would find it rather cool if we do like this, you know, keeping the spirit of the Space Marine aesthetic alive, and not only like the Space Marine aesthetic, but the Saturnine aesthetic, going all the way with it. Which I think is, you know, a little bit of a neat idea. Though... Hang on, can I open my Discord? Sorry, I'm a little bit all over the place today. But yeah, I think the Saturnine approach would be a cool idea. Ah, okay. Daniel is unfortunately not joining us. That's okay. Pauldrons are a Warhammer icon. Yeah, I think we kinda need to go with the oversized pauldrons. Though, of course, you know, this right here is a little bit extreme. Well, that's an interesting one, yeah, right? I mean, it would be definitely eye-catching. But I think it would also be too limiting, so... Let's do this again. Oops, hey. Where are we? There we. Duplicate. So if this is like our base, then there are basically different ideas that we can do. I like the concept, but the size is a bit extra. Yeah. I think, you know, there's so many different ways you can go about pauldrons. Let me quickly do some looking in our... Ooh, that looks also really sick, but those are more like foot soldiers. It's actually a great page. Hang on, let me... Very unfortunate that nobody is not here, because, by the way, a little bit more of a bigger announcement right here. I have finally gotten my my PO box to work. I got the letter yesterday. I traveled to the PO box to set everything up. Now I'm almost ready to receive some of y'all's miniatures that you want to send me and cover in a video. Almost ready. And I say almost because the first time I thought I had everything ready, I sent a like empty package just to confirm. And I never saw it again and basically got lost, never returned to me. My fault, didn't set it up correctly, but I really want to make sure that everything is set up correct before some of you guys send me their multi-hundred, you know, euro miniatures before they get lost, right? In all honesty, Astartes did the pauldrons perfectly for me, as they are big, but not as extra as the rest of the fanarts and official sources. I think, you know, like for Space Marines, I think the extra big pauldrons are really cool. I like seeing them. I think they're a big part of the aesthetic. But for our Stormcast, I think we should be a little bit more conservative. So maybe doing like this. So here, going over the shoulder, and then just giving them a huge Klingenbrecher, as they're called in German. A blade shatterer. As most attacks will be coming from that side, as you know, I am a rather big fan of asymmetric design. I mean, who is not? Who isn't? So maybe like this on the one side, and on the other side we could go a little bit more traditional. I mean, if we do it like this, it would look a little bit too Roman, in my opinion. I think we're not too far from getting a cool design here. Though I think this part, especially in combination with this torso, has a little bit too much of a Roman influence for me. So I think what I want to do instead is maybe a little bit more like this. So a regular shoulder. And then some segments under that for the arm. And if we really want to, you know, we can also, of course, make like a smaller blade catcher right here. And then, of course, because it is a Games Workshop design, do a trim to round everything off. I think we can do very much the same thing here as well. What would these miniatures be without their trim, right? Okay. Well, of course, but I'm referring more for this case, using that as an example. Good lord, the AI ads. Are you getting ads right now? Hang on, you're not getting ads right now, are you? Because that's something I forbade YouTube to do. I specifically said I would set ads manually, so they wouldn't push it during the stream. You're not getting ads right now, are you? That would be bad. Ooh, and of course, I restarted the stream because it disconnected. Oh yeah, apparently there are some connection issues today. It's weird. It's weird. OBS says everything now. OBS says everything is fine. It's a bit weird, huh? Oh yeah, and the music also cut out. Yeah. And of course, what I also really liked about one of our earlier designs was the more, the simpler approach for a pauldron. So more like this, basically. Put another blade catcher up here. But then this being really ornamental, so the emblem, for example, of the hammer already being molded into the plate alongside the lightning and maybe a smaller trim. I think that looks also very elegant and neat. Where do we have it? I have realized, though, again, that these digital art streams are a lot more difficult for me to do than the matcha painting stream, simply because I do need to think more about what I'm doing and can't focus on the talking that much. Alright. Send you some of my GF's artwork? Oh yeah, sure. I'll have a look at that too. I think this kind of pauldron is quite nice, because we can also like resize it to fit our idea better. And apart from that, I really like this pauldron as well. So I think, don't stress man, we'll all chill. Oh, thank you. But yeah, it might be a little bit off-putting for new people joining the stream, right? Seeing me not be able to articulate myself as eloquently as I usually do. Or try to do. Alright, do we have anything interesting for like the legs? No, the legs haven't changed in ages. Of course, we could do splint armor, but splint armor always looks a little bit less, a little bit poor, like a poor knight. That's not something that I particularly enjoy. So what I'm thinking, but these streams are more interesting and collaborative. The regular painting streams are more chill and enjoy. I mean, hey, cool that you see it this way. I'll just think about it, doing more of this. I would like to do more of this. What did I want to do next time? I'm not sure, but we'll do more. We'll do more. I do like this, and it is a great, great way for me to practice. What did I say before? Oh yeah. So, going back to this guy to basically illustrate my last points. Hang on, let me quickly duplicate this guy. So, what I basically want to do, apart from this, is I want to take the Baltea, because I do agree that something needs to go there. But instead of it being like a Roman inspired, we can just go with the medieval variant of mail. Basically, I want this to be mail, chainmail, with like a leather edge. I think that is, in my opinion, the best idea for this. And let me quickly illustrate it. Hang on. Yeah, because I think I want to get rid of all of the Greek/Roman aspects of these guys. We'll also have to have a look at their weapons and shields and stuff. But yeah, apart from that, and apart from that, I do want to get rid of this thing as well. This useless thing in between their legs. We don't need that. So hang on, let me... And I think the guy already looks a lot more medievally. Okay, and I think with this collection of stuff, I think we do have a great start for a better design. And I think I'll start with like these two parts first. So, let me quickly grab them and assemble them. Duplicate. Hello? Hello? And where's the other... Where's the plate? There it is. And now we're starting to do the proper design. So we've got basically all of our references, all of our building blocks. There's definitely a groundwork here. Yeah, I think so too. It's time to get, you know, the proper design going. So this is the chest plate that we want to work with. This is going to be our foundation. And the salade, or the shala, actually works rather well, dang. Let me quickly get rid of these parts here. So, a lot like that. But before I start peeing myself, I think I should head to the toilet just for a quick break. And when I'm back, we'll move on with the design. I'll be right back. Hang on, let me turn off the face cam. Pull this a little bit larger. And give you guys something more interesting to look at. Hang on. Where do we have it? There we go. What else is over there? Nothing. Okay. Okay. I'll be right back. Okay. Oh, what? Dang. Alright. I'm back. So there we are. Okay. Back to the design. Back to the design. There we go. So. I think in terms of the plate itself, we definitely can take the upper part and stretch it to be a little bit more, you know, of a heroic size. That's definitely fine with me, I think. Yeah. Then, I'm working now on an iteration of that armor, but you'll have to excuse my shit shading and perspective skills. It's been years since I've drawn. You're completely fine. You know, like, again, when I see the first thing that I drew today, this fucking abomination, so, you're completely fine, man. So, then for the first pauldron, I think I want to do, yeah, so the right side can be the less armored side, for which I want to do the ornamental pauldron. Where is it? Where do we put it? Duplicate. Oops. You haven't seen it yet? Man, you're completely fine. Don't worry. So a little bit like that. Because everything is just on a white background. I'll need to put some white under this for it to better blend in. There you go. Why'd that not work? Oh! Like this. Okay. So we have the less armored side. And I would feel comfortable to resizing this to, you know, a size more fitting. Maybe like this, alright? How about that? And then for the other side, of course, we want to do the more armored approach, which we painted here as well. So if we do that as our standard, or rather our reference, let me quickly take my brush. And then we let this shoulder, let me quickly have a look at my references again. So if the beard, if the kragen is too long, what does the pauldron do? Pauldron just goes over it or skirts around it. That's rather unfortunate. Aren't there, like, better ways to do this? No? Shit. Damn, the pauldron looks nice. Thank you. We're not even close to being done. Imagine what else we can put off today. So let me get back to this area. So we'll do like a large... Because we also have to realize that these, you know, we can't stay too historically accurate, simply due to the fact that these guys are not having to face historical threats, right? These guys are having to face demon, undead ghouls and orcs, right? Your average real-life middle-aged knight did not have to face that. So yeah, we can be a little bit, you know, we can give them a little bit of a thicker plate. I'm not exactly the best artist either. Ah. You guys are... Don't put yourself down like that. There are people right now spending billions upon billions of dollars to create software which its end result is still less passionate and less interesting to look at than anything you will ever create. So, yeah, don't put yourself down like that. Jockey milk time? Nice. I'm more of a strawberry milk fan myself. Hang on. I think we're definitely getting the hang of this. So this is the more... We're not putting ourselves down, we're just realistic. Yeah. The thing is, I can't even fault you that much myself, because I too sit at my sketches and I'm just like, dang, I'm the worst. My diploma will look like shit and I'll be a fool. 4 years wasted. Alright, there we go. A little bit of resizing down here. Just a little bit. So, like this. I wouldn't even be completely opposed to just yanking out the middleman here. We could even go like with mail here, which would make the entire thing a lot more interesting, wouldn't it? But so far, I think we'll just stick to the plan basically, and have it stay as segmented armor down here. Alright. Right. In terms of the pauldron, I think, okay. No, I think that is okay. Okay. What are we doing next? Stick with the armor? Okay. Yep. We'll do that then. Next up, though. Next up, it's time for the legs. And I think in terms of the legs, we can... Can I get the entire thing, please? There we go. Resize it a bit. Hang on. Let me quickly duplicate that just in case. Just in case this goes horribly awry. And then we have to do 2 legs. Where's the stance of this guy, by the way? Didn't really think of that. Yep, see it all the way through? Yeah, okay. So if his hip is roughly here, right? Anyway, I can't do that. So, if his hip is here, then we have like one there, like this. Then if this is his upper height, then let's say this is the entirety. The hip is here, that's roughly in the middle, it's more like this. And then that means the middle of this is here. So the kneecaps in fact are here. Kneecaps are rather big, or rather the knee as a whole. Stance is important. Yeah, he'll probably just stand a little bit like, more like a T-pose in this first one. I'm not at all opposed to doing a proper render of him later. Maybe even in a different stream. So maybe next week then. And then of course we have his shins. And then his feet down here. Though we need a little bit more of a contrapost. So, hang on. So his spine is basically down there. So his leg needs to reflect that as well. And then we can take this part, make it a little bit more extravagant. Hang on. Take this part, turn it, do it like this. Take the second part, the lower half of his leg, put it here. It looks so imbalanced, damn it. On. A little bit more like this. Yeah, okay. Why he skipped leg day? He'll get more. He'll get more of a leg. No worries. He looks like he's in a relaxed big dig energy pose with a weapon arm relaxed on the ground or on the shoulder. Hell yeah. I think that's the right approach to have at first. Alright, in terms of the leg armor though, hang on. Let us sketch that out first. Do we want to do asymmetric legs? I don't think so, right? Nah, we don't want to do that. So, we basically have like the first kneecap go like this. I need to resize a lot of stuff here after this. Wow. I haven't been going to my life sketching classes and it really shows, goddamn. Hang on, I'll sketch everything in and then I'll correct after that. So then we have like the second kneecap almost like facing us. Is that correct? No, it needs to face away for this to work. With a very pronounced calf. So, this does not look correct. And the reason it does not look correct is because this shit, whoops, this shit needs to be actually a little bit smaller. Or rather, not really smaller, but just longer. His knee is also not on the correct place. Needs to be further, needs to be further up. Like around here and thicker as well. And then we take this part of his other leg and make it so it faces us more, basically. Same with this thing, so it's shorter, but larger, like bigger. Oh. Yeah, a little bit like that. Left leg is far too tiny for the feet and ankle. Yeah, right. Okay. Hang on. I think the leg as a whole though, right? Hang on. I need to do this the proper way. So good thing, alright, I'm kind of struggling right now. Good thing I can just do that. Give him the male skirt that we talked about earlier. Cover up a little bit of the weird stuff going on down here, so I don't have to worry about that too much. Male skirt, very important, very important. And then we need to move the entire thing up, hang on. Resize the entire thing. To be able to move him up further. Oh yeah, dang. The leg is tiny, what the fuck. Needs to be first of all, it needs to be more like here. Needs to be bigger. Is that the correct size roughly? Yeah, roughly. And then we need to go like this more. And the other side has to be a lot bigger. Because it's facing us. It's supposed to be facing us. That's too big though. Maybe I should do, like, not do that. Maybe I should just let him stand normally. I think I'm just hurting myself right now because I didn't intend this to be a a dynamic pose of any sorts. And now it's just looking weird. Let me take this. Duplicate, turn the other way around. Bruh. This is a no-go. Why am I struggling so much with the legs? The fuck? Legs used to be my A game, my strong suit. Is it roughly correct size? Yeah, roughly. And then we have like just 2 regular fucking legs. How hard can this be? God dang. A little bit like this. 1 kneecap and the other kneecap. How hard can I make my own life? My gosh. And just the goddamn greaves. Alright. Feet. And there we go. It's basically like the meme with that, with the horse, right? The horse meme. Hang on. Okay, I'm finished. I sent you the result via email or via Instagram. By the way, I split the armor skirt into 2 separate tassets. I wouldn't be opposed to put tassets over this, so like this, right? How about that? I think that's the right idea. Male? Yeah. But I think we should instead of splitting the skirt, just put more over it. Looks so weird. Looks so top heavy. Hang on. Not at all in proportion to the rest. What's going on? Why can't I just find the right proportions? God damn. Is it that difficult? Shouldn't be. Again, entirety, top, and then we have like the middle roughly here. So it really shouldn't be rocket science. Gosh. Really shouldn't be rocket science. Just take this and have the exact same thing down here. Okay. Apparently it is rocket science. I'm just embarrassing myself over here. I hope none of my professors are watching. Can work too? Don't? Yeah. Okay, hang on. You sent me some stuff via email. Via Gmail. Maybe I need to look away for just a second. Ah. Alright. So you say we should do more like that. So you're really going hard with the grooves of like gothic style armor. Remember that he has the heroic scale? Yeah, that too. Maybe that's throwing me off a bit. Okay, you're wanting to go more into the gothic groovy style, right? Alright. I think I need to do these bigger. And then we have just the arms. Grooves and ridges. Okay. I think. Oh, nobody's here too. Yo, brothers. Evening. Welcome to a digital art Another digital art stream. Hope you guys enjoy this. We'll save that for a second design. Yeah. I think that's the right idea. Arms supposed to be like this a little bit. This should be like the proper proportions. Maybe give him a little bit more of a personality, so his arm is like here. And his other arm is like holding a weapon or something. Hang on. We have something going on here? I think so too. I think we're a little bit cooking. By the way, nobody, big announcement for you. I finally got my PO box in order. Yesterday I had the letter of verification come in, scanned my ID, did all the correct registration and everything. The PO box is finally there. I'll just do one last checkup by sending an empty package to the address of that box. And if it arrives safely, I'll publish the full address of that PO box in the community section, and I'll tag you specifically so you get the notification saying you that it's right, that it's usable. And then we can finally get the Khitan Demon Engine over here and done in the next year. How does that sound? Took me way too long to do this. But yeah, should be ready. Give the knight a trusty bolt gun? We can do that, sure. Whoops, way too big of an eraser there. Sounds like a plan, brother. Great. As for the gauntlets, I'll just give him some... Just, you know, a little bit simple gauntlets. Can I just do the highlight like this? Okay. Bolt gun is sort of style. Give that, give the guy a las cannon. Oh, a bolt thrower, of course. So that's the idea. On the other side, hang on. Get that guy with like proper arm. Hang on. Should be around like this. Then we'll encase that in armor, so roughly along these lines. Alright. Same as with the other guy, just a regular pauldron without fingers, because I think that's the way to go. And then, am I even on the correct layer? Yes, I am. Okay. Okay. And for a weapon, I think we should... I think I've also realized what is going on down here. Hang on. I think this part up here just needs to be bigger for it to work. Not perfect, but better than just a second ago. Okay. And I think for a weapon, we should give this guy... My first idea was like a halberd. A halberd. So... literally just a big stick, right? Because, again, these guys is either having to face off like hordes of enemies or huge enemies. In both cases, whoa. In both cases, a halberd would be a suitable weapon option. Got an idea for a nicer pose, oh yeah? I mean, sure, this is not the full, like, the proper render, right? I'll cut off the head like this, because I don't think I can show the full range. And then for, like, the halberd head, we should do something like this. So here, and then, hang on. We just have to move this guy over there. And then we do... For the halberd head, I'm thinking like a regular middle piece, right? Then a big, nice, flourish, almost bearded axe kinda halberd. With like a big edge. And then on the back we've got a long spike, for one. But also like the Sigmarite, just lightning coming out of there. And that's basically the halberd head. Maybe just another, you know, hang on. Move that a little bit further down. Like this. Like this. And then just a spike up top again. And the left arm is simply resting pose, which you can see the inside of the right arm and the other thing. Hang on, let me have a look at the inbox. I mean, yeah, I'll fix the pose after we've done everything. In terms of the design, where is the music gone? Okay, there we go. Okay. Oh, Rice has also sent a whole lot. Wow. That's from your girlfriend? Dang. Okay, some of these pictures are yours and some of them are from your girlfriend. Dang. Going crazy, right? I think there's some rearranging that we need to do, because he looks a little bit hunched over, which probably is due to his helmet, but we can fix that. So let me just take that off of him, adjust it a little bit further back. Following that, of course, we need to readjust his pauldron. To be a bit more there. And of course, maybe we need to... Do we need to put the helmet a bit further up as well, maybe? I think so. He's so encased by the pauldrons. And then... we still need to fix the legs. Or, I mean, the overall proportions are not too bad. I need to... Where's the axe head? Halberd. Shrink that down. Put it there. Take the entire thing. Move it up a bit. There we go. It's better for so you can have the pole arm and right in front of the profile. What? Pole arm would enlarge the right pauldron by roughly 10 to 20%. Snow 2x2 is also here, dropping in to leave a like. Thanksgiving's here, so I can't stay. Right, you guys are celebrating Thanksgiving. Hey man, nice. Yeah, happy holiday. Alright, thanks for dropping in. The right pauldron by 10 to 20%. Do you mean my right? Or rather our right, or the Stormcast's right? In other words, do you mean this pauldron or this pauldron? The Klingenbrecher pauldron or the ornate pauldron? Then of course we need to do some detailing after this. The full render will be any moment now. There's just some stuff that I still need to fix. So the tassets and the legs are not quite where I want them to be. It needs to be roughly more like this, right? The Klingenbrecher, okay. That one, yeah, you cheeky bugger. Okay, fair enough. Then do that. Let's do that. So, a bit more like this then. Okay. I think that's a good call. I need to just make it hug the rest of the armor a little bit more. And of course give this thing a proper trim. Or rim even. One. Okay. There we go. Okay. I think we're cooking. I think this is the first design where I'm like, okay, this is not just a regular knight. We do have many of the aspects of the, Stormcast Eternals here. I think this might actually be something on the right course. Maybe just spread them legs a little more. So he doesn't just stand there like a loony. There's of course a lot of... Now he's a little bit squatting, that's also not alright. Hang on, that leg can be there. And the other leg can get back into place. Or in line with his stuff. You keep forgetting that he isn't a human but a Stormcast, so regular human proportions fly right out the window. And also the GW heroic scale. Yes, the heroic scale is one thing. And I think you're right, like the oversized chest, of course. I think it's mostly the oversized chest and most of his limbs being bulkier. Though I think there is like no proper picture of them under the armor. So I'm not quite sure how that would even look. However, that being said, let's reduce the entire thing. I'm being ballsy right now. Maybe not as ballsy as I'm duplicating everything. Reduce the entire thing. Call it finished design 1. Because everything else that we'll do after this, I'd really like to base off of this here. And now we're basically nearing more of like the cleanup stage. So making everything, so I think the helmet already looks, hang on. The helmet already looks quite good. I like this pauldron, but the rest of the stuff, especially what's going on down here, is a little bit of a travesty. So let's clean that up. I think, yeah, everything has to be proper armor, of course. The mail, like this maybe. So, and then we have the tassets as well. And by the way, I'm not erasing what we did here. I'm just painting over it in white. Just to really make sure that this is proper. Gets proper coverage. with the form of the tassets, with the way that they're shaped, I really haven't put too much thought into it. I just thought that I'll orientate myself along the lines of the pauldrons as they are looking right now with the fresh Stormcast Eternals that have been released together with Skaven Tide. Not too fresh anymore. My god, Skaven Tide is already a year old, isn't it? The W Stormcast and his armor is too bulky. The Space Marines should be toned down a bit. I think again with the Space Marines, I think we could have a debate with the Stormcast. I think the bulkiness of the Space Marines is fine. I actually think now that the Primaris are out, they've already lost a lot of their bulk to begin with. So I actually have no real complaints for the Space Marines. I think Games Workshop definitely cooked with the redesign. I like it quite a lot. I don't like the crosses they have, like all of the like, I don't know how they're called, like relic crosses or something. I think like that's one thing I don't really like. I think that looks a little bit weird, doesn't really fit the aesthetic, in my opinion. That's also the reason why I will probably never own like Blade Guard veterans, just simply because I think their shields are just too much. So there we go. Hang on. We have this tacit down here. I really like doing this. Like, one more reason I like to do this these digital art sketches streams is because I can really like hone my skills in becoming a faster painter, get a lot more ideas done as well, because I don't want to bore you guys, right? And also, I think a lot of people tend to criticize much, oftentimes out of love. For example, of course, hobbyists will criticize Games Workshops and Games Workshop and their decisions and stuff like that because they love the hobby, not because they, you know, hate it or something. But a lot of people do tend to criticize a lot of things that they couldn't do themselves. For example, I have criticized the Stormcast Eternal design, not like 100%, not all the time, right? And like not too harshly, but I always felt like they were a little bit undercooked. And now it took me, based on this design, based on all the work the Games Workshop designers already did, like coming up with something even close to that, fitting my vision that I tried to, you know, say and describe. It took quite a long time to do that, and it doesn't, you know, it's not perfect by any means, but it definitely gives me also a reality check doing this. That's what I think that isn't right with us and well, let's see streams. Yeah? Is more correction, not the Space Marines, but the WoW chunky bulk? Yes. They do look a lot like WoW characters, definitely. These Stormcast Eternals, yeah. And then we have like... There we go. And of course the feet, you know. I think the greaves should really lay atop the foot. I own a pair of like... I own leg armor like this myself. Of course not like this, but like segmented leg armor. And it has been quite the pain to get it to work to where I can like wear it properly. So, you know, if you ever were to wear leg armor, make sure the greaves sit snugly atop, you know, a steel-plated foot. Otherwise your feet get sore and start hurting rather quickly, at least in my experience. Gotta go training, see ya later. Oh, you gotta go training? Hell yeah. Alright, see ya then, nobody. Get them gains. I think the Stormcast Pauldrons are thicker than the front armor of a Panzerkampfwagen 6. Yeah. I mean, that really is a lot of metal, right? This pauldron alone probably weighs like 5 kilos or more. Probably more. Also, one more thing I've realized about this design. I really don't like this lightning in particular. It really looks like it's been spray painted on. It looks too modern. It looks like something a White Scar would have, like a Space Marine spray paint, instead of like a more medieval looking paint job. Okay, and then we do the same thing. Hang on, let me cheat a sec. Let me cheat a little bit. I'm just gonna replicate the kneecap right there. Oops, there we go. No reason to not do that, I mean. That's a AC/DC trademark violation, oh yeah? Was it AC/DC? I think it was AC/DC. I once had a video where I painted like the goth rocker, and I used some AC/DC music in the first version, and YouTube like didn't allow me to upload the video. AC/DC, or rather their like producers or publishers or something, are that protective of them that you can't upload anything using their music. You have to use a cover. And I remember that very well because with most videos, I can change the video, like the soundtrack or something. With most. Although I of course always have to, it's quite a hassle because usually I edit them in a way that makes, you know, that incorporates the beat of the music into, you know, basically the way that the scenes are cut. But this specific video was based entirely out of on their song, I think. Was it Highway to Hell or something? I'm not quite sure. Like one of their songs, definitely though. And that was crazy, seeing that I couldn't upload the video. I had to find a cover band and ask them for permission to use their stuff, which thankfully they agreed to. Because otherwise that would have been, like, that was tough. I was like, no way. Alright. Okay. Then we have a little bit more light reflexes. This is probably not accurate at all. So there we go. Okay. Okay. The arm right here, this arm, is not looking good as well. So let's change that. Simple fixes for mostly it's just a bit refining the line work, refining the shape. I definitely want to have this shell design here. Definitely want to have that. Okay. And then this. So this lays on top of there. We don't see this part. The thing is, I've started to... Because I have to focus so much, and I can't really explain what I'm doing as I'm doing it. Because I just need that much energy to just focus on the task as is. That I've realized that I'm just, to fill the emptiness, the void in my commentary, I'm just resorting right now to saying, alright, we need to do this like that, and this like that, and this here, and that there, without really explaining a lot. Though I think, I do have the luxury of visual storytelling, basically, with these streams. So I hope I can get somewhat away with not being over explanation. Whoa, hang on. Yo ho, stop. Illunas has become a member? Illunas just subscribed to Break Off Bragging Rights. Yo, shit. Alright, here's some shekels for your trouble. Man. Alright. Thank you very much. I'm still stunned. Thank you very much. Thanks for joining the members. I really need to upload some members content now. God damn, so many people have. A lot more people than I thought. I thought literally nobody would ever want to join the membership of this small YouTube channel. And now I've already got... Are you my 5th member? Nobody? You? Yeah, and my girlfriend. You're my 5th member. What is going on here? Thank you so much for becoming a member. It's very highly appreciated. I hope you'll feel like it's worth it. I'm speechless. How come? Screw members only stuff? Oh yeah? The thing is, there's one series that I will have members only, and the only reason I'll do that is out of spite, because I will cover the paint job of a huge commission that I did, and the guy didn't pay me for the last bit, so he basically didn't pay the last 400 euros, which is a lot, but in the context of the whole commission it wasn't too bad. But I was like, okay, if you don't want to pay me, then I'll not show you what I did on YouTube. So that series will be members only, just to screw that guy. And that's what you will get, definitely. So yeah. Holy shit. Thanks for becoming a member. How come? You're not even that long on this channel. Did I do such a good job of entertaining you? How come that you decide to become a member this quickly? Genuinely stunned. I think like the armor has to be like this a little bit more. Yep. Alright. Dang. Holy shit. Thanks to everybody who's a member. I think it's kinda crazy that I have such a, small community, and like the ratio of community to members I think is insane. Pretty much everybody who's watching the streams on a regular basis right now is becoming a member, which I think is crazy. Thank you guys a whole lot. A struggling artist, we need to look after each other. Thank you very much. Very true though. Very true as well. Yeah, the thing is, what motivates me with like every membership that comes in, and like every super chat and every nice comment also. Don't get me wrong. Everybody who's just here enjoying the content and not paying me money, that's completely fine. Of course. But I am nearing the end of my art school. I think like 9 months shy of completing my art degree. And after that, it's basically me for myself. And I told my parents, okay, I really do want to try this. I really do want to try to fully sustain myself with arts and YouTube. Of course, it also depends how well my diploma comes out. If I can get it into a gallery or something. But yeah, I told them, okay, after I'm done with my diploma, I'll take 6 months. I do have like some money, and my girlfriend is also like, you know, of course, paying half rent, which I'm still also a little bit ashamed. So I want to take 6 months to try to sustain myself, to see if I can sustain myself with arts and YouTube only. And, you know, as this deadline is kind of approaching ever faster, ever quicker, I'm of course, you know, trying to take this ever more seriously, bring up more content, try to innovate and stuff like that. And seeing so many people subscribe to membership, subscribe to the channel. Again, the growth that this channel had in the last couple of months is crazy. It's insane. The metrics are off the charts. So it really is very reinvigorating and gives me a lot of hope that maybe after all this can get a lot further than I thought it could be. So yeah, thank you very much for all of your support, from every comment you write, every person that decides to get a membership. It's all very highly appreciated. Thank you very much. Alrighty. We are continuing to cook, I think. Yeah. Let's just make the mail a little clearer. And after this basic render is done, I think it's time to go even further with like details and stuff. So if we are taking, what kind of brush? Maybe this? Yeah, I think this is okay. On. So this is of course the male then. Oh yeah, I think this works. Huh. Then we switch back to a regular brush. I think that's it. Okay. Then I think we can actually do some of what Iluna's proposed, with like a little bit more of a groovy style. Maybe not necessarily for the main chest plate, but I definitely want to see them grooves on the main plate here. So let's darken this up a little bit, darken this down, and then we'll add some rudimentary sketches for the grooves right here. And then just go full highlights. So like this basically. Okay. Just a little more. Right now I really just want to refine the render and hone in the Stormcast Eternal look. Hang on. We do want to have a trim here. So why not? And then... Okay. Does this work? Yeah, I think it kinda does. There we go. Little bit of a shadow here. Only a little bit, maybe that's a little bit much. And oh, hey. Man, you need to look at it from my perspective. You've done like 5 hours of streaming because of my comment that's worth far more than €2. And they get to bitch and complain to you the whole time. I mean, that's true, but I mean, hey. You have to see it from my perspective. I wanted to do digital art streams for quite a while now, and now I had a proper reason and a proper project to work on that's also Warhammer related and gives me a lot more sketching practice and everything. So, you know, even without giving me a single cent, you've provided me with a lot of stuff. You provided me with the opportunity to make some content. So yeah, completely fine. I think this looks very cool though. I think this is really getting somewhere. This is the first proper Stormcast Eternals redesign that I've seen that's a lot more medieval than before. And the salad with the face guard, that goes also kinda hard. But yeah, I'm, you know, again, very glad to see you having fun, man. Okay. Also refine that nose right about here. Right. What else do we need to refine? Are these grooves even accurate? I just painted them in to, you know, be a little bit more of a... Ooh, that's also very cool. Okay. Yeah, some grooves. I want them grooves back. Yeah, I think they are rather accurate. Okay. Yep. As accurate as can be. Should we do the same with the with the tassets? Only one way to figure it out. To figure that out. Whoops. Okay, a little bit like that. Then we'll do this, so some nice grooves again. Okay. Also, hiring an artist to do your whims and bidding is quite fun. Can't imagine that, yeah. I once was very much in luck that during Corona, during the virus, I stumbled upon a very cool, like, upstarting Warhammer artist. And I was like, dang, that's really cool. And one day he offered, like, commissions. And I was like, ooh, this is very, like, cheap, and I do want to support him. So I immediately ordered a commission featuring basically me and my friend as, like, Warhammer characters in a proper scene and everything. So I did the pre-sketch, and then he took it way farther than, you know, the sketch that I provided. Amazing picture, done in like 3 days. It featured me So it featured an Astro Militarum officer, a Tech Marine, Lord Gilliman, multiple tanks, full sky, like everything, right? Insanely good picture. Done in 3 days. And I paid like, I think, $45 or something. And nowadays he's really gotten the hang of it and really established himself in the scene. And he's charging like for the same picture I would now be able, like have to pay like $100 or something. So I'm very glad that I did what I did back then. And I'm really glad that he's doing so well. That being said, I don't remember his name because he changed it twice. And I think after the second change, I just couldn't pronounce it anymore. I'm back, what did I miss? Well, you didn't really miss a whole lot, but the design that you're currently seeing here on screen is so far the best design that we have done for a proper Stormcast Eternal so far. Inuna says, by the way, the faceplate on the salad is nice, but I'm thinking about the old GW obsession with skulls. Maybe worth considering for an alternate design. Great idea, yeah. Skulls would definitely not be too bad either, yeah. For now, I just think the thing is, it's already almost 9. Unfortunately, we can't go on for too much longer because, again, I promised my girlfriend to make dinner. The potatoes are already done, but need to make some soy steaks. I forgot to buy salad. Shit. Hang on. Should I? Ah, fuck. That's bad. I didn't buy the salad. Deal closes at 9. Damn it! I have to end the stream now if I wanna... Yeah. I think I need to end it for today because I do want to make her nice dinner. Alright. Hang on. Let me... You'll have to enjoy me upside down for a second. Damn man, you gotta run? Yeah, I really do, don't I? Hang on. Transform. Flip horizontal. No. Transform. Flip vertical. Yes. Okay. There we are. Run! Otherwise bad doo-doo. Yeah. Okay. Guys, I think we really cooked today. Funnily enough, I need to cook in a second as well. We really cooked today. I really like what we did with the design. I think this is great groundwork to do more stuff. You know, of course, we have to think about the axis. We have to refine some of the areas here, especially like the ornate pauldron. We have to think of like different helmet options and stuff. All of that we will do, I think, next week. I think just Thursday we can do a digital art stream. And during all of December, you guys will be the first to know this, but I will do a... oh, hang on. Maybe I shouldn't do that now. During the entirety of December, I will stream every single day, every single evening from 6:30 to... From 6 to 6:30 CET, roughly around there. The exact times I will have to discuss with my girlfriend. But yeah, the plan is to stream every single day, except for the first weekend in the December. And after the 20th, of course, I won't be streaming as well, because then I'm at my parents'. Nothing over the weekend. Yeah, nothing over the weekend, but after that you will get spoiled, as Rice puts it. At least I hopefully do so. It's planned as like some kind of advent calendar event, so I will pull every evening a random miniature to paint and for us to get along with. There's also a little bit of a giveaway and lottery involved, so hopefully I get everything, all of that set up. And yeah. So far, the next digital art stream will be on Thursday, same time as today, so from 6:30, like beginning at 6:30ish CET. So I'll put it in a stream once more, in a chat once more. 6 to 6:30 p.m. CET for Central European time. Damn, I'm busy on Donnerstag. How about redesigning Friday? I mean, if a member is already asking me, right, who am I to not follow along? Yeah, maybe sure. I need to talk to my girlfriend about that. But yeah, sure. Maybe on Friday. I'll tell you all of the times for December very soon. I'm very happy with what we did today. We had a very rough start, but I think we pulled everything together quite nicely. And until then, I have roughly 10 minutes to get the salad. So, until then, have a nice evening. Thanks for being here. Thanks to Lunas for becoming a member. Thanks for everybody who participated and gave their constructive criticism. Helped this get along. We'll do very much more. There's a lot more to do. And we'll do all of that very soon. Alright, bye. quick ending, right?